Welcome to the Beyond the Vines podcast, where I interview local business owners in Sonoma County to highlight small business and grow our community. I'm your host, Amy Ehlers, a mom, realtor, and Sonoma County native, and I'm excited to connect you to some amazing people in this beautiful area that we call home. Welcome back to the Beyond the Vines podcast. Thank you so much for listening and for tuning in today. I have a really fun local business today that is making me really hungry because I have not eaten yet. So I'm starving, especially because she brought me goodies and I can smell them and see them while I sit here. So I have Kelley Brennick here. She's with Kelley Sourdough, owner of Kelley Sourdough. Kelley Brennick was born and raised in San Francisco, where her love of sourdough started. She moved to Petaluma a little over 12 years ago, got married, and had 3 beautiful children. She's a sourdough lover turned sourdough micro baker, and her love language has always been making delicious food to share with friends and family. She started her sourdough journey 5 years ago when she was baking literal bricks and has learned so much during that time. I need to hear more about the bricks. She has gone from baking 1 loaf of bread at a time to making over 350 sourdough products for her community during the last holiday season. She is so excited to share her products with the community and expand her growing business. And with that, I welcome Kelley. Hi.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks so much for coming. I'm really excited to learn more about this. I know we have kids at the same school, and I feel like I wasn't as in tune that this was going on, and now I know where to find you and stalk you for bread.
Yep, you come to the right place. I am the gal. I'm the bread lady.
You're the bread lady, and you're going to get texts from me being like, are you in the school parking lot?
Yeah, Christina said I should do it. I should have like drop-offs there, and I'm like, well, I'm the bread. I will bring the bread.
Right? Christina Letch, shout out to her, by the way, is a great connector.
I know. Thank you Thank you to her because
Christina.
I didn't know about you and your podcast, and I'm so thankful to be here.
Isn't that funny? Yeah. I love it. I love it. So what inspired you to start Kelley Sourdough?
So it's been a long journey. I started pretty much after I had my son. It was like I started to kind of look at what we were consuming, and it started to look at like what is something we consumed all the time? Bread.
There you go.
And then I went to my pantry and was like, there's a lot of products in there that I can't even read on the label. So why is that? And I grew up in San Francisco, so I knew about sourdough, but I go to the store and sourdough bread is not just 3 ingredients.
Interesting.
And so it was kind of like, let's start a sourdough starter. Let's start this because I read online that you can make sourdough with flour, water, and salt. So here we go. And that was kind of the start of it. I started trying to make a sourdough starter and epically failed.
I've heard it's challenging.
It is challenging. But what I learned was that I just wasn't patient enough. I wasn't patient enough to give it the time for it to grow and learn. And so I decided that I wasn't going to do it anymore. I was just discouraged. Then my bonus mom decided to also kind of do sourdough at the same time, but she got her starter here from a local bakery here in town. I don't actually know which one that is, but
so she bought the starter?
So she actually just went in and asked for some sourdough starter.
Whoa, okay.
And that started her journey with sourdough. But my dad and my bonus mom travel a lot, and so she was going out of town, and she was actually just putting it in the fridge for a long time, and she was like, "Do you want to take this over?" And I said, "Sure, I'll take it over." So she has never gotten it back.
And now
and I have become the baker of the family.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's been a fun journey. It was kind of, I started then and I was just baking for our family and baking for my neighbors and literally anybody who would eat it, because with bread making and a skill, you have to practice. Yeah. So it was one of those things that I practiced and I didn't feel like I was doing great, but everybody was saying, "Kelley, this bread is absolutely delicious."
Oh my gosh.
And I started making more and more. And finally, after I think it was my 3rd Thanksgiving, where my brother-in-law was like, "Kelley, I literally he lives in LA. I literally stand in line at a farmer's market for bread like this. You need to start selling bread."
Wow.
And I was like, okay, fine, I'll try it. And that's when it kind of all started.
That's amazing.
And I was inspired by that to put an ad out on Facebook Marketplace, and the rest was history as far as Kelley Sourdough Co came.
That's incredible. And I can so relate to like having that first child and being like, what am I feeding you? Like I did the same thing. I did not make sourdough. I feel like I made everything else under the sun though, because I was like, I can't give you anything like that's not real, you know?
For
and
sure.
It's so true. And then it changes the way you eat
for
as
sure.
well.
It took me back to kind of like looking at so many different things. I mean, it was knowing that I could make bread out of 3 ingredients and have it taste delicious.
It's amazing.
Is something that it changed the way I looked at things.
Yep.
And it was just one of those things that I knew that I wanted to continue, and I had no idea that I would get to where I am today. But here we are.
That is so cool. So I've seen the delicious treats you sell on Instagram because it's not just bread. You also brought me some cookies that we'll definitely be eating and some scones. I may not even wait till the end of the podcast.
No worries.
Don't be alarmed, everyone.
Please.
But what types of products do you sell and where are they available?
So I do artisan loaves, which you see here.
And it's beautiful. For anyone who
you.
can't see it, it's got a beautiful design on
I
top.
do sandwich loaves, like your traditional sandwich loaf. I also do a number of focaccias.
Okay, now we're talking.
Yeah. Let's see. I also do bagels, scones, cookies, and then I have like a rotating menu of dinner rolls. What else is there? It keeps growing.
That's amazing.
It keeps getting much. I'm like, what else can I do? What else can I do?
You probably see it too, right? Like
yeah,
other bakers doing
I
things.
see it and get inspired by them, and I'm like, I think I could do that.
That's
and then the menu keeps growing. My husband's like, okay, what else are we going to put on the menu now? And I said, well, I can't offer it all the time. Like I am just one person.
Well, exactly. That's a thing, but that also makes it really special.
It does make it special, and it's a labor of love.
For sure.
It is
for sure.
But I enjoy it a lot.
Wow. So did you always love to bake, and when was the moment? It sounds like when your brother-in-law mentioned like LA lines, like that sounds like the moment when you wanted to start your business.
That is the moment. I wasn't always a baker, but I was always in the kitchen growing up with my dad.
Amazing.
My dad is somebody who was always the cook of our family, and so I knew the fundamentals of cooking, but baking is a totally different beast. And so when I decided to kind of jump into baking, I went back to my bonus mom and was like, hey, what do I need to do? And she had this recipe that I tried to follow, and let me tell you, sourdough, you can't just follow a recipe.
Really?
It is a skill that you have to learn. You have to learn to kind of read the dough, learn your environment. Wow. And it was, so I couldn't follow her recipe, or I tried to, but I just kind of kept trying at it, and that here we are.
Does it change? Like today's a rainy day. Is that going to change things for you?
Oh man, you have no idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sourdough and temperature go hand in hand. Also, moisture in the air, drier climate, it all affects everything that it has to do with sourdough.
That's so cool. The science behind it.
A loaf that I make today is probably going to ferment for 12 to 14 hours. That same loaf with the same ingredients will take probably 4 hours in the summer.
Wow.
Because temperatures are just so much warmer. And when you're warm and cozy, you just blossom.
Yeah, totally.
And sourdough loves to be about 78 to 80 degrees. And so anything colder than that is like, I mean, it's freezing outside right here in Petaluma right now.
It's so cold. Like the frost yesterday, I was like, and my garbage bin is frosted shut.
Yes, yes. It's so that affects all of that.
Wow.
So you kind of have to ebb and flow with what is, and that's why you can't follow a recipe, because the recipe could tell you, let it proof for 4 hours, but let me tell you, 4 hours your bread's not going to be done today.
I don't think I could do this because I'm a recipe follower. The intuition you must have is so good.
You can. You just have to learn the skill.
It's amazing.
And it's one of those things that once you learn, you can kind of adapt to it and make it your own. It's not like it's not such a strict schedule.
Right.
If say I have to go pick up the kids at school, I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be shaping, like it's ready. You can throw it into the fridge.
Okay.
And the fridge will cool it down, but it's not going to stop it. So it's just one of those
you still need to
things.
time this.
You still need to time it and kind of read the dough, so to speak. But it's one of those things that you get the hang of it.
I think I'm just going to buy a bed from you, Kelley.
Gladly. I do porch pickups twice a week.
I'm pretty sure this sounds like more my alley right now. That's amazing. So can you walk us through the process of making the perfect loaf?
I can. It's a labor of love. It is a true labor of love. It is a 3-day process. This bread took 3 days.
Oh my gosh. I'm just going to like shove it in. I'll try to like not shove it in my face.
Well, go ahead. I have more. I know how to make more. It is a true labor of love. It starts with your sourdough starter. You won't have bread unless you have a sourdough. You won't have sourdough bread unless you have a sourdough starter.
Got it.
It comes with feeding that, and then that takes a certain amount of time, all dependent on temperature. And then when it's at peak, you use it. So you kind of have to time it then and go from there. So then after that, you mix it with flour, water, and salt. And then you have what is the word? You have a series of folds.
There you go. Okay.
You do a series of folds every 30 minutes. Everybody does it a little different. I try to aim for 3 to 5 sets of folds. So I do coil folds. Stretch and folds is another term that a lot of people use.
Okay.
It's just a different process.
Okay.
But they're the same. They have the same effect.
Interesting. Okay.
And so then you do that 3 to 5 times. And then you let it set. And this is where the temperature all comes into play. So from the time you mixed everything together till the time you are done bulk fermenting, it could vary day to day. Wow. But after that, I divide all the dough into 950-gram loaves.
Okay.
And then I shape that.
So you have to weigh this then?
You have to weigh it.
Okay. All right. Okay.
You have to weigh it out. You don't have to, but because I do it if it's just your own loaf, you don't have to weigh it.
That makes sense.
You can eyeball it. And then after that, I shape it. I put it into bannetons and I put it to sleep in the cold ferment fridge. So that is the cold ferment is where you get that sour flavor. That's where that sour flavor develops. And so every baker does it for a different amount of time. I typically strive for at least 24 hours. And there's a variety of reasons for that, but I just like the flavor that it gives and that the flavor develops. And I've baked a loaf in a day and it's amazing how different it tastes.
Interesting.
It just isn't it's not sour.
Yeah.
But not everybody likes that sour taste.
That's
so
true.
You just have to do what works for you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm like mesmerized by this whole process. That's so awesome. Wow. So sourdough has a reputation for being healthier than other breads. Can you explain why that is?
So it is the magic of sourdough. And what happens is during that fermentation process. So during the fermentation process, the gluten starts to get eaten and broken down. But because there's this good bacteria in it, it kind of ferments and helps to pre-digest it. So then when you eat it, it is already, it's just easier to digest.
That's what I've heard. It's like more digestible than other breads.
Yes, and it also has a lower glycemic index because that the sugars are broken down already. And I have a lot of customers and family members that are gluten sensitive.
Oh, interesting.
That can eat my bread and my baked goods, no problem.
Because you use your sourdough starter in your other goods.
Everything is sourdough.
Interesting.
And everything is fermented for at minimum 24 hours.
Wow.
So even my cookies. So I will make my cookie dough.
Can't wait to eat that.
I will make my cookie dough and then scoop it all out, pre-portion it, and then put it into the fridge for 24 hours. And then actually from there, it goes into the freezer. So I make weekly cookies and scones. Like I have my dough days and my prep days. And so then they go and they do their cold ferment. And so that makes it even easier to digest.
Wow.
So it's healthy for you, right?
Yeah. I'm going to tell myself that as
I do those
too.
No worries.
No, but really, truly, that's really interesting. And it really, it kind of speaks to, I eat a lot of sourdough, so I'm happy to hear this.
Yeah. I will tell you that the sourdough that a micro baker is going to make is going to taste different than the sourdough that you get from Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, all
Costco.
of those. Costco.
The big bag and the double pack.
Look at the ingredients. I can guarantee that it's not organic flour, filtered water, and salt.
And that's funny that you point that out too, because I was admiring how cute your label is. But the first thing I saw was the ingredient list. So I love that.
And how minimal it is.
Exactly.
But how amazing it is that you can create something so delicious.
It's so cool. It really is cool. I used to make peanut butter, and I remember being like, so peanut butter is ground up peanuts, and that's it.
Right?
Like, why do we buy peanut butter?
Why is there added sugar and all of this other crazy stuff? I mean, it's
so interesting.
It just makes you kind of look at the food industry and like what we are consuming and why are we consuming it. I just today, my parents went out of town and they gave me some little like pretzel like bites or something.
Okay.
And it was like bread, what are they? Pretzel bread bites.
Oh, are they like the softer ones?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And
I know what you're talking about.
forgot that they were in my house because I haven't bought bread in a long time.
Yeah.
And they were on top of my fridge. And I was
funny.
like, I don't even know how long these have been here, but there's no mold on them.
No, they look perfectly normal, I am sure. Isn't that scary? Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I mean, the shelf life of my bread is not longer than 3 to 5 days.
Right.
Because there's nothing to preserve it.
Exactly.
So
and that's why it's ready for our bodies.
Freezes amazing. And so
Oh, good to know.
Slice and freeze.
I love slice and then freeze. That makes sense.
You can cut it in half and then freeze it, but slice and freeze, grab and go is my life.
I love it.
It's
All
easy.
right. Well, yeah, that's the thing is we need it to be easy. That's amazing. So, do you source any local ingredients for your bread? I know you don't use many ingredients.
I don't use many ingredients, but for all my baked goods, all my baked goods actually come from Skippy's here in Petaluma.
We were just talking about Skippy's.
I love
Which
Skippy's.
I'm going to bring Cara in on this. She won't speak on it, but Cara's who records us every time. Shout out to Cara. She and I were just talking about Skippy's eggs.
Skippy's is amazing. I mean, I just got their checked eggs, like nothing wrong with them. 30 eggs for $6.
Wow. Wow. Okay, that is very good information for everyone right now.
Yeah, but don't buy them all, please.
Yeah, please leave some for Kelley.
Yes, if you want cookies and scones, I need eggs.
Yes, exactly.
And then actually all of my flour that I use, I only use Costco's organic all-purpose flour, which is actually Central Milling.
Interesting.
Flour, and it's just relabeled as Costco brand. So,
yeah.
And they are here locally in Petaluma.
That's so cool. Yeah. Oh, I love that. So how has the Petaluma community embraced Kelley Sourdough Co?
Oh, it's been amazing.
Yeah.
From the first time that I put out an ad on Facebook Marketplace, and I love Facebook Marketplace and all the Facebook groups because it's kind of my into the community. I was amazed that people would want to buy my bread.
Wow.
And so once I posted and I had orders coming in immediately, and I was like, whoa, hold on. Let me rein it back a little bit. Yeah, I was like, let me practice this bulk baking because baking one loaf of bread and baking 12 loaves of bread is a totally different. It's just a different beast. Totally. It's the same process, but it just takes a little bit of learning that. And so I did that, and it's been amazing. I mean, I currently have a customer base of over 150 customers. Oh
my gosh. Wow. Okay.
And that is just something that I only started using the Simply Bread app after the Thanksgiving madness and trying to do that madness. Dinner, it was the first time that I had to say no.
That is
And then I couldn't say no any longer, so I just added another day.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And so I looked around and I was like, there has to be a different way to do this. And so I started using the Simply Bread app, and now I kept trying to tell people to go to my storefront, my digital storefront, so that they could order bread.
That's a good way to do it.
And plus, it also then started to kind of, I could see all the customers that I had, because on Facebook Marketplace,
you can't track it.
Yeah. And if I didn't post regularly, or the algorithm wasn't the way that it needed to be, and I wasn't showing up on people's feeds, it was like, well, you know what? Now they get a notification every single time I post a menu.
I love that.
And it's really helped.
Will
And
it say when you're sold out too?
It does say when I sold out or how many are left.
Okay.
Or I try and kind of have a schedule of like posting, and it's so fun. It is the best feeling to like all of a sudden I know that my menu is posted and it's like ding ding ding.
Oh gosh, like a small business owner's dream. Like,
it
really is.
It is a small business. Yeah, it is like every order helps me continue to be home with my kids and available for them and volunteering at school and that my kids are now learning how to make bread. I mean, my daughter and my son are like my two littles are like, Mom, can we make bread today? And I'm like, well, yeah, we can.
In fact, that is what was on the to-do list.
Yeah. And my older daughter, she spends 50% of the time with her mom. And it's like she has now started making bread weekly to bring to their house.
Oh, they probably love that.
And so it's like, it's one of those things that, why not?
Yeah.
And it's a skill that I have mastered and that they are now learning that they'll have their whole life.
That's so cool.
So thank you for all your orders.
I love that. I love that so much. So do you have a favorite type of treat that you either like to bake or like to eat or both?
Oh, I was talking about this with my husband and I should have brought it with me, but I just didn't have more dough to bring. So my mini cinnamon roll focaccia.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I think I saw that actually on your
form.
So
Christina has ordered this.
Oh, she has? Okay.
She has ordered this. Think of a cinnamon roll.
Yep.
The warmth of the cinnamon, the buttery, like just the butteriness mixed with the sugar, and then you bake it. You like mix it with the sourdough focaccia, and it gets baked, and then the sugar caramelizes on the bottom.
You're killing me right now. Like my stomach's gonna start growling.
And then you take a vanilla glaze.
Stop!
And you drizzle that on top. And you take a bite.
Okay, I know what I'm ordering.
You take a bite, and it's just like the sour of the sourdough is like, it's just like a tangy with the sweet. It all together in your mouth. It's like that salt. It's like that sour sweet combination.
So cool.
And then it's the crunchy because of the sugar.
The sugar that's caramelized. Oh my God.
It was a happy mistake.
Yeah.
And it was something that I used to make every single dough day, and I was like, I need to stop this
because I'm eating it as I go.
It's like there's a big thing about having a baker's treat, like to enjoy, and it's quality control.
Yes, it's you're making sure.
I have to make sure,
you.
but that is
so cool.
that is something.
Yeah.
But my sourdough chocolate chip cookies, my kids always want them,
That's so
and
cool.
then all the neighbor kids are like, "Do you have any cookies today?" So
like,
I am not. I am
order.
the bread lady for for their parents.
Oh, I love
and
it.
The
And
cookie lady for my kids.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That is so cool. Have you had any funny or unexpected mishaps in your kitchen that you'd like to share?
Yeah, just yesterday.
Oh, I want to hear.
Just yesterday, I had a totally epic fail. I baked. It did not look like this. It was a total pancake.
Wow.
And I'm not sure what happened because in that same day, yesterday, I made, I think, 22 loaves of bread.
Interesting.
And that I had 2 of them turn out to be pancakes.
How funny.
And it was just something. It was I'm kind of troubleshooting with the micro bakery community.
Yeah. To figure out
because,
what went wrong.
Yeah, but I took that and then I made croutons.
I love that. Okay, so you still used it.
I still used it. It was delicious.
Great.
And my son asked for salami and croutons for lunch today.
Fantastic.
So, yeah. I really try and incorporate my kids in all that I do because it's just an important skill.
Definitely.
And it's just a like the love of being in the kitchen, and that's my love language.
Yep.
Like, and so if I could do that for my kids to have that, why not? So last year, my daughter, I made what I call a sprinkle loaf. It was for St. Patrick's Day. So it was a rainbow.
Oh my gosh, cute.
And that will be on the menu in March.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But I gave her control of how many sprinkles to go in. And so she was just like doing a little bit of sprinkles. And I was like, no more. And she was like, okay, Mom. She measured with her heart. That whole bottle went in there.
Feeling those sprinkles.
Well, it was a very colorful loaf and it tasted delicious, but
bet.
it was Yeah, things like that happen all the time.
That's so funny.
But I she went for it. She understood
the assignment there.
The assignment.
Mm-hmm. She was like, we need more color.
Do
you ever make this is off topic, but rainbow bagels?
I haven't.
It's funny because my daughter's, one of her good friends' moms ordered them from New York for her and like had them shipped to her.
The whole dough was rainbow?
Yeah, everything about the bagel was like a rainbow swirl situation happening. I'm going to find out where she got them
for
from.
Valentine's Day, I'm doing pink loaves.
Ooh, cute.
It's a marbled pink loaf, and that's fun. And that's all dye free. So I'm using actually dragon fruit powder for that. And I don't know how I would do the rainbow, but I mean, there's all sorts of colors that you could use. The funny thing is my kids will not eat bread that doesn't look like bread.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like the color of bread. They're like,
this is not right.
Like I made the pink bread and my daughter's favorite color is pink. And I was like, look, and she was like, oh, that's amazing, Mom. And she took a bite and she was like, it's the best ever, but I don't like pink bread.
That's so funny.
And so she's like, but I'll eat it with sprinkles.
Unpredictable.
Yeah.
Kids are so funny with stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's adorable. Things. That is too funny. So what's next for Kelley Sourdough Co? Is there any expansion? Are you going to stay where you're at for a while?
So I am getting to max capacity for my home bakery.
Definitely.
But it is... There's so many things. So my daughter will be starting TK next year.
Oh, that's such a fun game-changing age.
And that will be a fun thing for me as far as like having time. So I would like to do farmers markets here locally. I would also like to look at expanding and getting into like coffee shops or doing... Something that I really want to do is like the CSA boxes, or like when they come and pick up, like doing a weekly delivery of bread for when people come to pick up their boxes.
Great
with
idea.
Local farms. And I that's kind of the push, but with that comes expansion at home and probably getting a bread oven, which will change the game as far as baking. Right now I bake 3 to 4 loaves of bread at a time.
Okay.
But that will change the game to 12 loaves.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so you can produce a lot more.
Yeah, that will just make production much quicker because instead of spending 12 hours in the kitchen baking, I'll be spending half,
that's
a quarter
life
of that.
changer.
It is a life changer. But with that it's a big expense, and so we'll get there. But demand right now is like it's continuing to grow, and I want to continue to produce because everybody should have good quality bread.
Agree.
And so I'm here for it.
I love that. Coming off work a little bit, what are 3 fun facts about you personally? Everyone's least favorite question.
Oh, let's see. I love a good roller coaster.
Ooh, good. Okay.
I love a good roller coaster. That's something I don't do as often as I should. But as my kids are getting older, we can kind of venture back there because going on roller coasters with babies doesn't work.
Sometimes not allowed.
Yeah, I don't think I could fit in a backpack. Actually, you have to check that backpack.
That's true.
So,
that's true.
That's
so
child endangerment. But
we're at that age now where it's like all about the thrill rides. We don't like the little kid rides are not exciting anymore.
Yeah, no, all 3 of the kids are big thrill seekers.
Cool.
I mean, they love it.
That's so good. Good for you because then that way it's gonna free it up for you.
Exactly. We can go on them together.
I love it.
So yeah, that's a fun thing about me that I'm looking forward to doing more of. I am probably the Mrs. Fix-It. I'm always up for a challenge when it comes to, I have probably fixed every single appliance in my house.
Oh my gosh, that is very impressive.
It is a skill that I don't know. But both of my parents, my mom was always about all the electronics. My dad was about, when I first moved into my house, my dad and I replaced my water heater. Wow. Just this past Thanksgiving, past Thanksgiving, the pellet stove in my house went out. Well, I took it apart and fixed it.
So cool. I'm calling you for bread and appliances.
Yeah, I really like puzzles. So I think it's like a puzzle to me. But Plus, the internet is now available.
YouTube is my go-to, and
everybody has an instructional video on how to fix something, and I'm up for the challenge. So
wow, very impressive.
Yeah, thanks. A third one, I'm not sure.
You can come back to it.
Yeah, we'll come back to it.
I don't think liking sourdough fits the bill because that's going to be like an obvious.
Yeah.
I love it. That's so funny. Is there anything we might have missed that you would like people to know?
No, I do porch pickups twice a week now. Great. And I am your sourdough gal. I am up for the challenge of trying different inclusions in the loaves and trying to do fun things with sourdough. You can truly make any recipe sourdough. Wow. Given enough trial and error.
Yeah.
Sourdough cookies. Cookies have absolutely no water in them, yet they have. And so that is kind of one of the things that you take out water and flour and you can put in sourdough starter. But sourdoughs or cookies have no water in them.
Good point. Okay.
Yet you'll have to taste them. They're absolutely delicious.
Oh, as soon as you are done recording, I've really had to stop myself right now. Yep. That's amazing. Where can my listeners find you?
They can find me on Facebook and on Instagram. I'm on Kelley Sourdough Co. on both of those. And through that, it is linked to that Simply Bread app. And Perfect. They will get notifications of my weekly bread drops, and I look forward to baking for them.
I love that. So when they sign up on your app, let's say I order a sourdough loaf, then the next week I'll get a notification as well.
You have to sign up for the recurring notifications, but it's so worth it.
That's
because
so cool.
And the thing is, you will get, I do twice a week that I do a bread drop. But also next week I'm doing 3 times a week because I have Valentine's Day.
Good point. Okay.
So you can always refer back if you don't want to get the notifications, but I suggest to sign up for the notifications because you never know when I'm going to drop something special.
Ooh, secret.
Yeah. And my Instagram, I always post my extras.
Cool.
If I have, I always make extras because you never know what's going to happen.
You may end up with a pancake loaf.
You may. And I reached out to that customer and I was like, yeah, your loaf turned into a pancake. She's like, don't worry about it. Awesome. I'll take whatever you have.
Oh, that's so cool.
So that worked out. And so we just switched it out and I had extra to give her. And
fantastic.
Then I made croutons.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, and I'll put the links to all of those in the show notes so that people can find it.
Perfect.
So wonderful. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for feeding me.
Of course. I can't.
I'm going to share with the office, maybe.
Well,
we'll see.
Maybe a bite. I put 6 cookies in there, so
I guess I can share it. They can all break up one of them.
Yeah, there you go. I was gonna say you could quarter them out, but one of them.
All right, I'll share.
That works.
I can give Cara a whole cookie.
Oh, thanks, Cara.
Well, thank you so much for coming, and thank you for listening.
If you like what you hear, please be sure to like and subscribe. Learn more about Sonoma County and all that we have to offer here.